Welcome to another episode of Dinner Starts Here. We've got Anne-Marie, we've got Cameron. Thanks for having me.
Glad we could be here.
So you guys are
Turkey farmers.
Turkey farmers, yes, that's right.
Turkey farmers. Now this is a pretty new barn.
Yes.
How old's the barn?
So we finished construction about the end of November.
End of November, so like 6 months.
Yes.
So why build a brand new barn?
Well, we're looking at some expansion. This is our third year of antibiotic-free diet, and we wanted to, our next build, we wanted to make sure that we had the best environment that we could have for our turkeys and labor efficiencies.
Because we're not getting any younger.
And it's you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are a husband-wife team that
That's right.
like
we
gets
have-
along together all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And
We have, we had some
he
part-time help.
says yes,
You
you
want the
said
true
maybe.
No,
we have some good help
Yeah,
as well.
that's cool.
We have Ben and Ezra.
we work well as a team, but
Yep.
certainly any sort of expansion or improvements you make is about labor and about
Yep.
environmental efficiencies, and so that's what we accomplished with this barn.
Cool. Well, let's go take a look then.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
So Anne-Marie and Cameron, we're inside the barn now, and first thing I've noticed is in behind us, the back half of the barn is empty, and the front half is full of turkeys. Why are they not utilizing the space provided to them?
Turkeys are very curious creatures, and so we've been standing here for a couple minutes looking at the turkeys, and they've come up to check out, see what we're up to.
Really?
They imprint fairly easily onto us as farmers. They'll follow us around the barns.
Yeah.
Eventually, if we stand here long enough, they'll lose interest in us and get bored and go off to the rest of their day.
Really? Just kind of puttering around and
Yep, very comfortable.
see laying down and walking around and things like that. So then, I mean, these turkeys, they're not real big turkeys. How old are they?
They are 5.5 weeks now.
5.5 weeks old.
Yep.
How long do you keep them here?
So we'll ship at approximately 16 weeks of age.
Oh yeah.
They're in this barn approximately 12 weeks. We brood in another facility, another farm, up to.
Brooding is kind of that raising from day olds. Yeah.
We'll start at, they're freshly hatched out of the hatchery. We get them as day olds, and then we'll have them in our brooding facility for 4 to 5 weeks.
So what's different about the brooding facility to here? What's the big difference?
So it's what we call a power ventilated barn, totally enclosed.
A lot of heat.
A lot of heat.
Requires
They
a lot
like
of
it
heat.
because they're day old. They
You
need.
start them at 90 degrees.
Wow. They like it hot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so we start them off at that temperature. We slowly drop that down as the days go on. Now we're down into that 70-degree type weather. It's a little warmer today, obviously, but we target it down to about 62 degrees when they go to market.
Oh yeah. Now, you say it's a hotter day, and it is. We're out in the sun. It's actually probably about the warmest day we've had in a year so far. It's not warm in here. How do you keep it cool through here? Why is it so nice in here?
So where we've built this barn is naturally on a knoll. We get a natural prevailing wind on this farm, and so it works really good for a natural ventilated barn. We're getting a nice general breeze through the curtains today, and so the air is constantly being mixed and moving along.
Now, you mentioned antibiotic-free diet. What does that mean?
So what that means is that we don't use any antibiotics in our feed rations, and so that allows us obviously to be able to market that product as antibiotic-free. I mean, this is our third year on that program. We've had pretty good luck with it, and so the goal of this new barn was just to enhance that even more, to do even a better job, knowing that we're not using any antibiotics in our feed.
However, if you need to use antibiotics, we have that option.
Mm-hmm. So basically, if an individual turkey gets sick,
No, it would be
A whole barn?
A whole barn.
that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Because how many turkeys are in here? I guess you can't really necessarily take the temperature of all of this.
Right.
Well, but if you've managed your environment the way you need to, then you minimize that. We use
Right.
vaccines. The birds we
Yeah.
vaccinate,
Yeah.
and so we're able to do some preventative stuff.
So now, the other preventative thing, I'm guessing, is this, like you've got a screen here.
Yep.
Why put a screen like this? I mean, one, they're not jumping out, but two,
Well, we're not. So there's no wild birds are allowed into the barn, obviously, because of the avian influenza concerns that we have, especially in the springtime when you have the wild birds coming back from the south during their migration. And so that's key to our environment, is to make sure that the birds obviously are protected from any predators and wild birds.
right? So then let's take a look at a couple of things in the barn that's got me curious. First of all, the green dishes and a couple of the birds have been dipping in. What's in the green dish?
So that's water, and so those are our drinkers. And as you can, we have 4 lines of water lines, and all spaced and spec'd for toms, for tom turkeys, to make sure that they have ample water to drink from.
And there's going to be one. I always have trouble getting them to do what I want, but one is going to actually highlight how they drink from it. Pretty easy.
Pretty easy.
And this is available to them all the time?
Yes, it is. So they have water all the time. It's on demand, obviously.
Now, what about eating? What do they eat?
So
Where do they eat?
So the feeders are over here. The red, and it's obviously based on color. Red, you know, they're attracted to red. They're attracted to green too. They're attracted to red.
That's
and
on purpose. It's not just designed for because it's your favorite color.
No, it's based on what the birds are attracted to. And so we're able to, because of the tube in the middle, we're able to flood those feeders when we first move birds into this barn. So that
the feeders, what's that mean?
So what that means is that we'll get the feed level up higher than what they would be as they get a little more mature, so they can see the feed when they move into a new
they know
environment.
where to find it, yeah.
A little easier for them to find.
Yeah.
We'll be raising the feeders up as the birds grow.
These whole things go up and down.
They go up and down.
Cool.
The birds have only been in the barn for a week, so we want to make sure that they see and find everything.
Now, what's in that diet? What types
So
of things are they eating?
So in a turkey ration, you're looking at a corn, soybean, wheat, grain diet with the vitamins that we need to add to that feed to balance it out. You'll start off with a high protein diet, and then eventually as you're finishing the birds, there's more energy and lower protein.
Now, one thing I notice about these birds is they're kind of in that, and birds of all kinds kind of had that almost adolescent phase.
Yes.
Where, they're kind of feathering out, they're, maybe not as pretty as they are when they're either cute when they're really little chicks or have full feathers. So what are some of the things over the next, you've got, what do you say, 7 more weeks here. What are some of the things that's going to change about a turkey over those 7 weeks?
So obviously they're going to grow. How
big?
So they'll be 15 kilos at that 16 weeks of age. That's the target. They will start to mature. Their heads will become reddish blue, and you'll see them, as we call, strutting around, preening. The feathers go up, and the tail feathers are fanned out, and that's just how they mature. And they like to move around the barn and keep active.
Really? And just so then in a day, is that kind of what they kind of go from eating to drinking to resting to?
For sure.
What do you call it? Strutting? I can't even.
Strutting. I can't demonstrate that, but you get the idea.
No, don't encourage it.
But they are fairly curious, and when you're checking the barns, I mean, they're going to follow you around.
Well, and as you said right off the top, that eventually they'd get bored, and you can see, I never even noticed until now, they've gotten bored.
Yep.
They're spreading back out and kind of filling up and resting again and doing all that kind of stuff. So now, I mean, lastly, so at that 16 weeks of age, you're going to ship them out.
Yes.
How do you get them out of here?
Go ahead.
Well, we have a loader and a preloader. The preloader is a belted machine, and they just ride it.
Oh,
and
really?
It puts them onto the loader, which is kind of like an escalator, and the truck drivers can raise and lower it. So there's lifting for the truck drivers, but it's usually just straight across and into crates.
It's fairly stress-free.
Very stress-free.
Well, because a big tom, like they're getting heavy. Yep. You don't want to stress them.
No.
It's a ride.
Yeah.
It's a ride for them.
So we just have to walk the birds onto the preloader, and it's
It's just herding. We just herd them.
Now, I think one of those things is that for turkey, for a long time, people only think of turkey at about 2 or 3 times a year
Right.
as the only time. But that's one thing that I think, as turkey farmers and other people in the turkey business are changing and certainly trying to change. What types of things, other than a whole bird, can you actually use turkey for?
So these are 15-kilo birds. So it all goes for further processing. I mean, you don't want that big a bird on your dining room table.
Yeah.
So Subway, they'll go to Farm Boy and you'll get turkey burgers, all kinds of
bacon,
Process.
bacon.
breast rolls. There's the advantage of turkey meat is it's a little bit drier, and so for a processor that makes it a lot easier to be able to do what they want with that product, because it already starts off as a little drier, and they can, depending on the ingredients that they have in their hamburgers or hams or whatever, it's easier for them to further process that product.
Well, thanks for the tour, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for having us.